Here are some of the fighters that I will be buying stock in 2026. And what I mean by that, these are fighters that I am high on in the position in the market, who I think the odds makers will be pricing at a low point, and who the community don't believe in as much, but who I believe will be getting not a lot of respect by the odds makers. And I think I will be able to bet on them consistently through 2026, and they could be some cash cows for 2026. Now, this is a pretty obvious one in my opinion, but one of the fighters that I will be buying stock in is Natalia Silva. I know this is not exactly a hot take, but her striking is just very clean to me. Her distance management, her speed, her size, and her athleticism. I think she's the best striker in that division, and I know there's Valentina Shevchenko in that division. But Shevchenko, she has been leaning on her grappling a lot. That Fiorot fight, she did look decent in that fight, but she was getting outstruck there in moments. She has had the losses to Alexa Grasso, and while she looked absolutely great against Zhang Wei Li, she did use her wrestling in that fight, and I think she is still slowing down quite a bit. And going into this fight, I expect her to be a decent favorite, especially after that great performance against Zhang Wei Li. Natalia Silva, I just think her striking is, quite frankly, better than Shevchenko. Maybe she's not as dangerous. She is definitely more of a decision fighter, but I think she's more effective with her kicks. She has a lot more output, and I think she's one of the only fighters who can match her on the feet in a tit-for-tat striking battle. I also think her takedown defense, she is very strong. She is very big for that division. If you just look at the way she's built compared to the other women's in her division, she's really thick, and I'm not talking like looks-wise, I'm talking muscle. She has great takedown defense, and I think she's the answer to Shevchenko. So I think she's going to go out there in her first fight against Namajunas. I think she's going to make it look easy against Namajunas. And at her current price that I've seen, minus 300, I think that's playable. And then I think she goes out there and beats Valentina Shevchenko. So for those reasons, I am buying stock into Natalia Silva yet again in 2026 this year. Now, this is definitely one of the more under-the-radar fighters in the UFC that I will be buying stock into in 2026, and that is Pat Sabatini. Now, this guy, a lot of people, you probably don't even know who this guy is, but in my opinion, this guy's like a mini Sean Brady. His grappling is absolutely insane, and I think hopefully that Chepe Mariscal fight didn't put him too much on notice to where the point the odds makers are still giving him not too much respect, because against Joannis and Brito, he was a 3-1 underdog. I was able to cash on that, and I cashed in on his last fight where he was a very slight favorite against Chepe. And if you saw that fight, Chepe really could not do anything at all to stop Pat Sabatini's grappling. His positional grappling, when he has your back, is very, very good. And he has a submission threat as well, but it's more his control that is so good and so dominant. His opponents really don't have any answer. The way he was able to control Chepe, who Chepe, mind you, is a very good wrestler. He's a guy that scrambles. That's how he wins his fights. It was pretty much a complete shutout, a 30-27 across all three judges' scorecards. So I think he can do that all the way up into the top 5 of this division. It's going to take someone really good with some real threat to beat Pat Sabatini. If Pat Sabatini, in every one of his fights he's got a takedown, he has been able to win. So it's pretty much a matter of fact if you can stop the takedown or knock him out. And yeah, his striking is not great, but I think it's going to take some powerhouse like a Diego Lopez who was able to beat him in round 1, or someone very good and very well-rounded like a Volkanovski or an Evloev. In my opinion, I could see Pat Sabatini beating a lot of the ranked guys. I could see him beating someone like a Lerone Murphy. So I'm going to be buying a lot of stock into Pat Sabatini in the right matchups. If he gets matched up by someone like a Lopez or someone very dangerous, I could see him losing. I think he's very similar to Sean Brady in that sense, that their grappling is insane, but when they're against a power hitter on the feet, that is where you will avoid betting on them. But I'm definitely looking into buying some stock into Pat Sabatini in 2026. Now, my next one could be a bit of a shock to everyone, but I'm looking to buy some stock into Israel Adesanya. The common misconception, in my opinion, is that Israel Adesanya is washed. Just because he lost to Nasruddin Imavov, just because he lost to DDP, that does not mean he is washed. I think maybe he's not in his peak in terms of performance, but in terms of his physical capabilities, I still think he's in his prime. You watch that Imavov fight and tell me that does not look like a prime Izzy. The way he was moving, the way he looks physically, the way he was able to strike. I think Israel Adesanya is still a very, very high-level fighter, and the way that people are talking about him is like he is completely washed, like he's like a Tony Ferguson and he can't compete at all. Israel Adesanya has been the favorite in every single one of his UFC fights, and I think this is where the odds makers are going to stop respecting him as much, and we could even see him as an underdog in a potential fight or him not be as big of a favorite as we're used to seeing him. I think Israel Adesanya has slowed down a bit, but in my opinion, the only fighters he loses to are DDP, Hamzat Chimaev, Anthony Hernandez, maybe Sean Strickland, and who am I forgetting? Nasruddin Imavov. I think those are the 5 fighters I see him losing to. But guys like Caio Borralho, Brandon Allen, Roman Dolidze, those kind of guys below him, I do not think Izzy's going to lose to those guys. His takedown defense looked great in his last fight. So he's going to be striking against these guys. I think he's easily going to outstrike him. And I'm not sure who they're going to match him up with. But if we can get a decent price tag on Izzy against one of those lower level fighters, I would absolutely love to tail him yet again. And I think I will be buying some stock into Izzy in 2026 as the public seem to have lost the faith in him. Another fighter I'm going to be buying stock in 2026 is Caio Fernandez. And a lot of you guys probably don't even know who that is. But this guy, in my opinion, is one of the most dangerous leg kickers in the sport. In his last fight against Harry Hardwick, he was a very slight favorite and he absolutely made it look easy. That was probably the easiest bet I've hit all year, I'm not even joking. And in his fight against Guram Kutaladze, he chopped his leg, put on an absolute masterclass on him. And this guy's a very under-the-radar fighter, but technically he's just very impressive to me. He keeps his range very well. He has very good leg kicks. He's very long. He's a good striker, decent takedown defense, and I think he's pretty high level. So if they keep matching him up with these lower level lightweights or even like borderline fringe ranking kind of level lightweights, I will be looking to buy stock into Caio Fernandez in 2026. Now, if you want the full breakdown of every single fighter that I will be considering buying stock into 2026, that will be posted in my premium Discord. That is MMA Betting Beast Premium, which you will also be getting fight breakdowns, tape study sessions, and betting masterclass tutorials to dominate betting-wise in 2026. So if that sounds like something you would be interested, click the link in the comments down below or in the bio, and I'll see you inside. Let's go.